Hey guys, hey Robson, hey Ataradov, hey Yon. How are you guys doing? We are going to do something different today. To be fair, we did something different yesterday as well. But today we're going to select our fantasy team for the Magnus Invitational. So yesterday we had the opening ceremony, and the logical next step is selecting a team for Chess24's fantasy competition. You watched Alireza versus Magnus from Alireza's side, and it's beautiful. can you elaborate on how Alireza's perspective is beautiful at Taradov? Just the fact that he won. Did the play seem better to you if you watched it from Alireza's side? This I think deserves further investigation. Kim coming in with the 10-month Twitch Prime resub. Thank you so much, Kim. Okay, I'm just finishing up. It's not tea actually. I'm drinking actually proper stuff. Hey McDonald. Afternoon from Brazil. Wow. Good afternoon to you too. So I thought we would take a look at this chess fantasy thing. I just got to double check that I made my announcement in my Discord. Let's see. Did not make announcement in Discord, so I'm just gonna do that first. I did do my Twitter announcement. I've gotten so much better at my Twitter announcements. I have pictures and everything. You know what they say. A picture says more than 1,000 words. Hey Vertvich, trying to solve my openings? You don't need to solve them. You just need to, ingest, really. I was gonna say memorize, but that's not really the kind of thing I want to encourage. You just you don't solve my openings. You yeah. Digest was maybe not the right word, but I'm struggling to find a better one. Let it become a part of you. Namaste. Hey Blunder Panda. Hey Wignesh. I came here to see if anyone cares. Wow, that's rough, Vignesh. I take it you do not care. Hey Kasparov fan. How are you doing? It looks like it's effortless to him. Yeah, but to be fair, the same is true of Magnus. Most of the time Magnus wins, and it looks pretty effortless. And yet, when I'm sitting at the board, it's so much more difficult. His mannerisms, Alireza is genuinely enjoying it. Okay, that's interesting insights, Taradov. There's going to be a rematch. Magnus against Firouzja. The rematch taking place on Monday in the second round of the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. Hey, Steve Eyes. Hey, Fool. Did you select your team yet, or are you waiting to see my selections and then you're going to do your own? I fear that a lot of people are going to copy my answer because if you haven't heard already, I completely nailed the world qualifier, the candidates tournament, chess fantasy competition. I was like top 30 of. I was in the top 1% of players. Oh, you already picked. Wow, that's brave, fool. And now you're gonna learn about all the mistakes you've made. Now that we're trying to think properly about what the best clause course of action is. Hey Dukas, hey Halvard, hey Torquay, hey Syrian. Okay, so let's jump right into it. If you're looking to select your team, a team yourself, there's a link in chat right now, !fantasy, and that's when we're gonna, and that's where you can go to follow the follow along and submit your own team. Why did you go the same time as Pepe Final? Well, because the Pepe Final was scheduled to be done right now at 8 p.m. Dukas. Are they continuing for a very long time? Past Pawn coming in with a 23 months in a row of subbing. Thank you so much, Past Pawn. Hey, Krishna. Okay, so let's move along. The Pepe Final is over. Yes, see, Dukas, it's perfectly timed. It's all on purpose. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here is the form we have. The Magnus Carsen Invitational, brought to you by Chess24, and Fantasy Contest. Only one entry per username. That sounds fair. What is your username? Hammer. And now for the first question. Can you guys read what it says? I tried making the letters as big as possible, but I'm not completely sure I succeeded. Okay, you can read it. Thank you, Past Pawn. Still waiting for your invite? Yeah, me too, Jesse. I don't know what's taking them so long. Maybe they're gonna have like a Hammer Invitational. I'm sure you'd make the cut for that one though. Okay, so here are our options. Who will win the tournament? Magnus Carlsen, Alexia Ferrugia. Well, all the players are here. But what we need to notice is that you get different points for different players. So, in effect, it's like implied odds that you can take a gamble on something that's maybe not going to happen, such as Fabiano winning the tournament. Probably not going to happen, but if it does happen, you get a ton of points for getting it right. The link to this fantasy league is !fantasy. Pause. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. I appreciate it. I'll even tag you in this link then. Pick Anish. No, Steve Ice, I was very aggressively picking Anish for the candidates tournament because, you know, I'm a fan and I believed in him. And it has come to my attention that I was mistaken believing in Anish. And especially in internet chess, he had a practice training match against Jordan van Forest where Anish got completely clobbered one game. And then he was, having an okay match against Vidit, but it was nothing special. So I'm gonna say that Anish winning this tournament is not gonna happen. I'm gonna say it's gonna be either Magnus, Ferrugia, or Hikaru. I think maybe Jan. Maybe Jan. But I think it's gonna come down to the implied odds and also I think it's interesting how people cope with playing on a 2D board, and how people cope with playing with nothing happening around them. For them to actually have to create their own concentration in front of a screen, which feels very unnatural. Is there a bracket? No, Yoon. There's no bracket. They play a round robin tournament, and then the top four plays a semifinal and a final. You have to think about how other people are picking. I don't believe in that pool, actually. Come to think, I have thought about it, and I think if you just make smart selections, then you have good chances. I don't think you should, as long as you maximize your points, it doesn't really matter whether it's not that unusual of a pick. Because at the end of the day, when you've made 20 different selections, uh, the chance of your selections being unique are very high. Hi, Kleinmeister. And thank you so much to Ulan gifting a sub to Jesse. Hey, Alex. Gotta bag those 250 points. I think he's gonna have trouble doing that though, Chris. Oliviesa is at 40 points is super overrated. Really? I don't know. I think Oliviesa is pretty good. And I think Hikaru is pretty good. I think I think I'm gonna go for either Magnus or Jan. That's kind of my initial feeling. I think Magnus is very, very good at chess. But 10 points is not a lot. And then Jan is also very good at chess, and there's a lot of value in getting 100 points for Jan winning the tournament. Hey, Switcher Deutsch. How are you guys feeling? What are your favorite selections, considering you get different points for different players? Do we have Team Carsen in the house? Team Hikaru? Septic believes in both Hikaru and Jan. Ding at 140. Well, the thing is, Cairo Hulk, there's so many questions about Ding. You know, whether does he really play that much online anyway? Also, is he gonna have to play like into the night because he's in China? And can he get into trouble with his internet connection or something like that? I feel like Ding is a super strong player, but there's so many concerns. However, you make a good point. Ding is a very good player, and 140 points is quite a lot. So maybe it's worth defying all of those other arguments to get Ding at good value. Nobody mentioned Skiri. Yeah, no one. Even I lost faith in Anish at this point. Higgs. Depends on mouse skills. I don't believe that's true, Dean, because they're getting 10 seconds extra per move. I don't think mouse skills is going to play a role whatsoever. Jake, thank you so much for the 16-month resub. The future is here from North Asia. Oh, wow. So, Torquay, I take it you're a Ding supporter. Past Pawn subscribing today and also advocating on Nepomniachtchi's behalf. I think I was saying that I felt Jan gives good value for points. So I think I'm going to go with Jan for winner of the tournament. But as we scroll further down, the next question is who will finish in second place? And I think what I want to do here is I want to put Jan here as well at 40 points. Because I think I'm basically predicting that Jan is going to do well. And it makes sense for me to hedge that if he doesn't finish first, then maybe I can still get points if he finishes seconds. That's my thinking. Ding is also the least likely to be tilted. That's an interesting perspective, Kyra Hulk. But Are you sure Ding doesn't get tilted? I mean, he has a very calm demeanor, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing happening underneath that we can't see. 15 points for Magnus is ridiculously low. Yeah, the thing is, giving yourself 15 points here is essentially saying that Magnus will not finish first place. So I'm definitely not going for Magnus for second place. I don't know if he tilted in candidates, but he certainly didn't play very well, Jake. Doesn't make sense. You're aiming for a decent but not top result with this. So you think if you're hedging, you cannot manage to get the top three prizes full? I guess you could be right. It's just, it feels like so random if you're just gonna guess someone. Because I mean, if I'm not gonna do this, if I'm not gonna hedge myself with Nepomniachtchi, I feel like I might as well just put down what I think is gonna happen, which is gonna be like Magnus number one and Alireza or Hikaru number two. And I mean, I guess that is most likely to happen. It's just when I see 100 points, I get so tempted. No, Dvertus, I was busy starting my own stream. If you want to be first, you need to get both first and second. If you want to be top 10%, then hedge. Wow. Chat ripping me to pieces. Are you making me admit that I would be happy with a top 10%? Honestly, I was top 1%. I was top 1% in the candidates fantasy. So I feel like my strategies can still go beyond top 10%. But I get the gist of what you're saying, that finishing number one by hedging is not very likely to happen. I'm not saying Alireza is a fair number, Jake. I'm saying it's the most likely to happen. Um, and sometimes even if you get a point, not that many points for it, you you consider doing it anyway. If you're, as Chad is saying, you should go for who you think is going to be number one and who you think you're going to be two. Do you think Nepo will win or become number two? I think there's a fair chance. I think there's a fair chance. I think there's more than a 1 in 10. I think it's more than. I mean, if we say that the chance of Magnus winning is X, then I think Nepomniachtchi's chance of winning is better than 10 times X. I'm saying there's value in Nepomniachtchi given that he gives you 90 points more than Magnus winning. Maxim is tempting? I don't know, Max. Yeah, maybe. Maxim is pretty good, but like in the Pro Chess League, Maxim couldn't concentrate for he never concentrated, and he would only always treat the 15-minute games as if it was 2-minute games. And also he didn't do very well in the Blitz tournament chess.com organized yesterday. I don't know, maybe it's recency bias, but I'm not sure about Maxim. Why is there such a hype about Alireza? Well, he did just beat Magnus. Kleinmeister, the time format is 15 minutes at the start of the game and then 10-second increments per move. Hey, Balash. Has Nepomniachtchi ever won a Grand Chess Tour Rapid? I guess he hasn't. I don't know. 15 plus 10 is pretty significant. Are we going to do something like truly crazy and go for Fabiano at 160? Because, I mean, Fabiano is a good player. And the prices are pretty good. Fabiano is incredibly well prepared. This might be one of those. This is a rapid tournament, but no, it's very unique because it's on the internet, but it's also very unique because it's like the biggest prize fund ever for a rapid tournament. Because the prize fund is basically identical to classical tournaments. So it doesn't make any sense to save your preparation because you got 200 people with 9 months of spare time looking at their computers and finding all the novelties. If anything makes sense now, it's getting those novelties out as soon as possible. If you have some good ideas, now is the time just to get them on the board before someone else discovers it. I am really talking myself into I'm talking myself into Fabiano. 160 points. I'm gonna double on Fabiano. Fabiano first then needs to get into the top half of the round robin. Should be doable. He's so well prepared. And like 15 plus 10 is not, it's the normal time control in the Rapid Championship. So it's not that, it's not a lot of time. But it feels longer on the internet. It feels longer on the internet with 10 seconds extra. Chris also says that Fabiano has done well recently in Pro Chess League time control. Fabi still maybe has his World Championship prep. Yeah. Okay, let's say Fabi for second place. Fabi for second place. And then Magnus for first place? Or do we go double Fabi and think that Fabiano is potentially can beat Magnus in a final? Or maybe he has to play Magnus in the semifinal. That would be that would not be great. Yashrov, this is the Magnus Invitational. Use exclamation point MI for more information. Nepo first, Fabi second. I don't know, I got talked off Nepo. Now I'm liking Hikaru more than Jan. But Hikaru in 15-minute chess? It's too long of a time control, no? And he's gotten very used to streaming. And I know from personal experience that just having to sit in a quiet room without talking, making that change from streaming to not playing competitive without streaming, I found that really difficult. But on the other hand, does Magnus really understand what he's getting himself into? You forgot why Ding was out? I mean, there's, he's playing late in the evening / night. He seems like a pretty straight guy with very good sleep rhythm. And there's Chinese internet VPN. It's a bit shaky. It feels a bit something could go wrong. But yeah, Ding is also interesting. Kyber Hulk still believes Ding is the best value. Is there a match for third place? No, there's not, Jake. So the semifinal losers just split their prize. Naka first, Fabi second. Might be unique pick. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter whether it's unique or not. What matters is whether or not it's gonna hit, hit, hit the goal. Do I believe that Fabiano can avoid Magnus in the semifinal or beat Magnus in the final? I don't really believe that. Yeah, no, I don't believe. Let's go for something more likely to happen. You know what? I'm just gonna go for Magnus. I'm such a sucker. Magnus GOAT emote. I think this is trust in the Magnus. Wow, Buddha actually picked Jan to win. That was my first intention as well, Buddha, but I kind of talked myself out of it. Okay, but I'm very happy with Fabiano second place. I think there's decent value. Fabiano second place. Yeah, I could see that happening. Even if Magnus wins, 10 points won't make a difference probably. Okay, we'll go further down and then we'll see kind of how many points it's gonna be the, because suddenly 10 points is the decisive difference. But who will finish in the last place? Who will finish in the last place? Probably not Magnus. Anish, 10 points. The time of Giri is nigh. Higgs. But I went from having like the most extreme faith in Anish for the candidates to now just completely trashing him. But are we really going to do this? Do we not believe Anish can avoid a last place? The thing is, I don't see who else it's going to be. Ding, maybe. You want MVL? Ooh, interesting. That was my first instinct, but I just didn't dare say it out loud. I think I may have some recency bias, though. MVL was not very good in the tournament he played yesterday. Jan could tilt easily. Yeah, that's why I put Jan, like, whenever there was a competition who gets more points and so on in the fantasy contest previously, I took Jan. And then Jan just ended up winning all his games and leading the tournament halfway. So now I'm kind of scared of betting against Jan because he's looking good. He's in good shape. Ding was slow in the banter today. He played so poorly. Wow. Insight from Dukes. Ding? Yeah, maybe Ding. 50 points for MVL is great value. Really? 50? But MVL is such a beast. And I imagine he's going to be able to concentrate on this tournament so much more than the Pro Chess League. Because I don't think he really cares about the Pro Chess League, but here he's competing for himself for big prizes. The prizes make a huge difference. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to be motivated. The chance that Aligesa gets last must be so much higher than MVL or Naka. Yeah, honestly, Aligesa is up there. I mean, I think Aligesa is amazing, but if he first starts losing, then he will get targeted. And his ability to beat people in time trouble and create trickiness, I feel like 10 seconds per move should be enough to avoid most of Aligesa's trickiness. At 90 points, it's pretty good value. Aligesa is immune to tilt. Yeah, but on the other hand, the alternative is Giri. And while Giri is likely, the most likely to finish last place, is he 9 times more likely to finish last than Aligesa? 9 times? I don't know. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. 1% chance to get 90 points versus 50% chance to get 10 points. I mean, if I agreed with your assessment, sir, then yes, I'm making a horrible decision. But I don't think there's 1% chance of Aligesa finishing last. And if you say 10% chance to get 90 points versus 50% chance to get 10 points, then my bet is looking good. Yeah, but yesterday was a 3-minute game without increments, Dukas. Now he's playing with the big boys with a quite significant increment. I don't know. I think there's value in this 90 points. Ooh, and Buddha agrees with me. Wow, that was the confirmation I needed from chat. Buddha saying Aligesa is good value. I'm moving on. Okay, pick a player. Every time they win a rapid game, you get the number of points in the parentheses. Magnus Carsen, 1 point. Aligesa, 1.5 points. Hikaru, 2 points. Giri, 3 points. Hikaru makes a lot of draws in classical chess. He makes so many draws. And here also, it's important to pick someone you feel pretty confident is going to make it to the final 4. Because then they're going to have like an extra 10 games. Okay, 10 is maybe too much. An extra 8 games. So you got to pick someone you're sure gets to the final 4 because they get an extra 8 games. Hikaru, I think Hikaru makes a lot of draws. And I think this time control is so generous that he's not going to be able to use his blitz prowess. And we kind of already bet against Aligesa. I think I gotta go with Magnus for this one. So easy Magnus pick, says Oh Pause. Yeah, so the thing is Magnus can very easily lose a couple of games. But that just means he's gonna fight very hard to win even more. So what is the implied odds here? The implied odds is that Magnus will win twice as many games as Hikaru. Ooh, that doesn't sound very good, does it? Twice as many? That's very difficult to do. Twice as many? I think Anish is out. Anish is not going to make the final 4, and then he doesn't get those extra games. Oh, actually, it's not just about making the final 4. It's about making the final 2. So I think here you should pick someone you're reasonably confident is going to make it to the final. Because you get 4 extra games in the semifinal and 4 extra games in the final. Yeah, if Hikaru doesn't get to the finals, he might not manage. Yeah, no, I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Magnus. Naka 100% Cairo? Really? Is there a third place match? No, there is not, Flo. 32 or 36 games is not that big of a gap. You're making sense, Jake. You're making sense. 32 games? Wow, they're gonna be playing for 2 weeks. It's insane how long this tournament is. Yeah, so they're gonna play. Yeah, but there's also the question of whether a match is done. Is a match done if one player has 2.5 points? Wow, that's actually a really important question. Very important rules question. This might help me make my decision. It's 12%, pretty big. Yeah, but at the same time, we're talking about Hikaru Magnus winning twice the amount of games as Hikaru. That's also pretty significant. They definitely play all the games. No, I'm not confident that they will do so. Isn't total game points a tiebreaker? Well, I mean, I'm not sure that the person who made this fantasy necessarily has thought about every eventuality in the tournament. If a person has won the match, is he likely to push for a win? Yeah, no, that's fair, Cairo. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to play any more games after the match has been decided. I think if someone has a lead 2.5 to 3, there's no way they're going to play another game. There is a question for a 4-0 result. Oh, wow. Well, then he should have checked it. But that is the kind of rule that will get changed by the players during the tournament. I don't think any player would. Yeah. I remember there was a tournament quite recently where they had this idea that the players would play out the match even if it was already decided. And then the players just rebelled and they said, no, we're not doing that. And frankly, the organizers should have realized that that was going to happen. The person equals Greg. Well, I wasn't going to call out Greg on Streamflow, at least not before I have information confirmed. Chess Gold King. This is Chess Fantasy. Submit your team for the Chess 24 Fantasy competition and win prizes. The link is in the chat. So when match ends, they won't play all 4 games? I don't think they will, Dukes, but I'm asking the organizer. Okay, I have confirmation. They're playing all 4 games. Wow, they're playing all 4 games. This is interesting. Yeah. So Hikaru, once he has a lead, you don't think this? Hikaru, once he has a lead, he's just gonna try to make draws. Get draws and make sure he wins the mini match. Yeah, I think I'm gonna trust myself here. We're gonna go with Magnus. Hikaru has become very drawish in his 30s. Still a beast in Blitz for sure, and still a favorite to make it to the final. But he's gonna be cynical. Once he has the lead, he's gonna make sure to keep the lead and just get those 3 match points he's looking for. He will win half the amount of games that Magnus does easily. Wow, I trusted Buddha on the last one, and now that he's questioning my choice, I'm second guessing myself. Hikaru. So if Hikaru wins, say 5 out of 7 matches, and he wins all of those matches by 1 point, then he has 5 wins. And say Magnus manages to win some of his matches, like with a 2 game. Yeah, Magnus can win like 3 matches with 2 games. And he's not going to lose any matches. 3 matches with 2 games and like 2 matches with 1 game. Then Magnus is going to have 8. And what did I give Hikaru? 5? That math does not check out. Yeah, maybe I have to stick with Hikaru. Naka is best choice, you know it? I don't know it. But chat is kind of talking me into choosing Hikaru. Wow, Calm says Alireza. I don't think we even really considered Alireza. Maybe we should, honestly. Because I don't think Alireza could easily like lose 2 games and win 2 games. He doesn't strike me as the most solid player. Yeah, I know I bet against Alireza above, but I'm saying that he plays so few draws that he could be value here even if he ended up finishing last place, Reiji. Hammer will end up having the most thought about bracket plus chat help. Yeah, but you know what they say about too many cooks in the kitchen, Flo. This will be like question 1, ages contemplating, then going for Magnus. Yeah, maybe, Chris. Magnus needs 3 games for every 2 games for Alireza. Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. Watch Giri win the whole thing. Yeah, you can, if you're right about that, Reiji, you gotta make sure to make your own fantasy selection. Because then I think you're gonna win the first prize. How many wins do you think for Magnus? I mean, honestly, if I'm honest, I don't think Magnus is gonna lose a single mini match. And I think even the mini matches he makes a tie, he will manage to win like 1 game. So like I think Magnus will win 1 game for each mini match. Magnus winning 1 out of 4, it just feels like it has to happen, right? So Magnus will get at least 7 wins. But then some of the people he's going to beat up on. Not necessarily looking at you, Anish, although my eyes right now pointed very much in your direction. But for instance, say he gets an early win against Anish, he's going to want to pounce on that. And also Alireza. He's going to be very motivated to win a lot of games against Alireza. Okay, so say I think Magnus is going to win 9 or 10 games. But that's only in the initial phase. And then I think Magnus is going to win the semifinal. And then I think Magnus is going to probably win the final as well. Which is, it's another win. And imagine Magnus ending up playing Hikaru in the semifinal, which could definitely happen. And then Hikaru might not make it to the final. And Hikaru might struggle with other people as well. Like Jan is super strong, MBL is strong, Alijesa is pretty strong. I just don't have that same faith in Hikaru to make the final as I do Magnus. Will Magnus win 3 times more than Anish? Oof. Wow, just as I thought I was getting through all of this, now you're putting Anish in my face. Do I think Anish is not going to be able to win 3 games? I don't think Anish is going to make it to the final stages, to the semifinal. And I think the extra games in the semifinal and final is going to enable Magnus to win 3 games more than Anish. Yes, I do think Magnus is going to... I know it's a big ask. It's a big ask. But I think Magnus is going to win more than 3 times. But if Anish makes it to the semifinal, if he places top half, then I'm probably screwed. Wow, Jake, you're so logical. You're really not going to let me judge this by emotion? You're going to bring logic into it? Magnus Geary final, mark my words. Wow, that's a bold prediction, Kulala. Okay, everyone, I have missed some of your chats and so on and so forth. Let's recap. The points for this are pretty marginal anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, that if Magnus doesn't succeed, it's not that big of a difference compared to Hikaru. I don't know. Or maybe if Hikaru... I don't know. The 1 point per game from Magnus feels safer. And if it's not going to make that much of a difference anyway, maybe you should go for the safe choices. I had a similar choice in the candidates fantasy where I chose the Karukan as a black opening. And, I did something really wild and a big prediction there, and I failed miserably. And had I chosen just a 1 point thing instead of the 12 points for the Karukan, then I would have gotten like so many more points. I would have been like top 5 in the whole competition. And I missed out on top 5 because I had made a very risky choice. Chat poll? Yeah, but I don't think Aquila is here, Steve Eyes. I don't think Aquila is here. He's the only one who knows how to do the chat polls. Maybe I should ask him, how do you do a chat poll? We need a 24-hour stream for this. Yeah, definitely, Higgs. Okay, someone has managed to make a chat poll. I'm kind of scared who has this kind of authority. Wow, it seems to be Jake. A lot of picks. No picks for my man. I'm gonna defend my guy. Magnus. I'm the only one who's voted for Magnus. That's kind of disappointing. Wow, chat seems very convinced about Hikaru. Okay, now the fact that I said I voted for Magnus has suddenly turned the tables around completely. I now realize what kind of power I wield in this chat. There's no question in the world Hammer can't think for 5 minutes about. Yeah. This is true. Okay. Hikaru has won it with 13 votes. Magnus with 8. Okay. Don't let me down, Hikaru. We're moving on. Okay, the last four players, the next four players. Let's do this. Okay, so these are 2 points for Maxim, 2 points for Jan, 2.5 points for Ding, and 3 points for Fabiano. So for every three games, Fabiano wins. No. For every 2 games, Fabiano wins. Jan and Maxim. No, we're not ready for voting. No, shame on you, Jake. This is outrageous. You cannot have a vote before we have an informed discussion. This is why they do a year of campaigning in the US. Not that it really helps them succeed making an informed decision, but we have the discussion and then we have the poll. Outrageous. Unmodded, yeah. The hay forks are out in play already. The crowds are protesting this mod's ill-timed decisions. Okay, see you around, Buddha. Let your chat vote first and then campaign later. Okay, I guess now we let the vote go. So, Nicola, wait, what? Did that not pop up on my screen? You stuffed the ballot box. Wow, Nicola. Thank you for the 100 bits. Stuffed the ballot box. Yes, I'll say. Twitch electoral voting now also includes features for bribing the officials. And Jan and Fabiano with 9 votes each. And no one else got a vote. Wow. No one believes in MVL? That's interesting. Who will come in last? We don't really know, Dvirtus, but I went for Aligesa on that question. Pitchforks, thank you, Ulan. It felt wrong what I said, but you just go with it. Oh wow, really, Marshmallow? Well done. That's amazing. 1450 to 1600. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad someone is having progress with my coaching tips, Marshmallow. I'm glad someone is. Nicola, thank you so much for the 1,000 bits. I think I'm gonna go with Fabiano. I think the way we kind of created this scenario is based on Fabiano making it into the semifinals. And so, in order to be consistent with our previous selections, I think Fabiano here is a good choice. Hey, CJ. you broke your pride, huh? Well, it's better than breaking other things, CJ. Okay, pick a player. Every time they lose, you get this amount of points. Shots fired. Yeah, a little bit, Yon. A little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. People who lose games. It's not going to be Anish. Anish may very well finish in last place, but we're not selecting Anish to lose a lot of games. He's going to lose a couple. and then he's going to kind of struggle winning matches. This is interesting, by the way. For winning a match, you get 3 points. And for losing, you get 0 points. And if the match goes to Armageddon, that if it's 2-2 after the 4 rapid games, then there's an Armageddon. And the winner of the Armageddon gets 2 points and the loser gets 1 point. So they use the whole scale. 0 points, 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. Poll can only contain 5 people. I guess you can't get the vote ready then, Jake. Go for Aligesa in this. Aligesa is less solid than the other people, I agree. And we also have a bit of a choice. We put Aligesa as the last place finisher. To be fair, we don't think it's very likely Aligesa is going to finish last. But it is a possibility. And if he does finish last, then I'm going to win this fantasy competition. So Aligesa is definitely a very consistent pick. And it also seems to me to be a pretty valid pick. Because even if Aligesa does well, he's going to win a lot of games and he's going to lose a lot of games. I am convinced, Cairo. You have convinced me. I'm going for Aligesa. I think it makes sense. Nepo on tilt? Yeah, but I had this whole theory about Nepomniachtchi going on tilt during the candidates, Chris, and it just didn't really work out that way. I had Nepomniachtchi to lose games in the candidates. Did not work out very well. Anyone know where Wesley's been lately? I don't know, Dvertus. I don't know where home. He's probably home. Most people are at the moment. Is this for Magnus Invitational? Yes, it is, Marshmallow. If you want to participate, you can use the fantasy. Fantasy. I need some spelling help. The link is in chat if you want to fill out your own team. What to do? What are you? We want. Hammer is always correct, of course. Stupid poll. If one of the options is hammer is always correct, then we don't need to have a poll. That's just facts. Nepo started well. If round 8 or 9 were played, he would be more tilted. I definitely agree that Jan has a tendency for tilt. And I do agree that tilt manifests itself only once you have lost one game. So I get your argument. I'm choosing to have some faith in the guy who's currently leading the candidates tournament. Hammer is always correct, wins the poll. Of course it won the poll. I'm a bit concerned about the margin with which it won, but at least it won, which is the important part. Okay, what opening do we think is going to happen? E4, E5, E4, C5, D4, Knight F6. D4, Knight F6 is basically every opening in the whole world. D4, D5, it's not really that fashionable anymore. People often use D4, Knight F6 anyway because Nimso isn't that impressive for white. Caro-Kann or French? No, we're not doing that trap. So I think these last 3 selections is just not going to happen. So I'm sticking with C4 or Knight F3, which is tempting because it's 2 different moves. 2 different first moves. D4, Knight F6, e4 c5. I mean, e4 c5 I suppose could happen because Nepomniachtchi plays the Najdorf, MVL plays the Najdorf, Magnus plays the Sveshnikov at times, though he kind of quit. So I think we're choosing between Sicilian. I don't like this half point for e4, e5. I think we're choosing between Sicilian, Indian defenses, and what is this called again? Like Reti defenses? No. Whatever we're gonna call c4 and knight f3. As Syrian, we're gonna do our fantasy selection, and then we might play some banter afterwards. Flank openings, I think someone called it on Chess Publishing. I'm not a big fan of Fischer Random Duertes. Naka mentioned he had practiced some French. Oh really? Did he, Chigas? Because when I looked at his final round game against Peter Svidler, where he played the French, and he said the French is such a terrible opening, and he got completely crushed by Svidler. But I mean, I guess if Hikaru plays the French, it could be interesting, but I feel like he might get crushed so many times that he stops playing the French. CJ, this is a conversation you should have with your physician, not with me. He did regret his decision. Yeah, I think he did. He got crushed by Svidler as far as I could tell. Do you need to register to Chess24 in order to participate? Not to participate, Uman. But if you want to be eligible to win a prize, then yes, you have to be a member. Because basically the first question is, what is your Chess24 username? So if you don't have one, then they're not going to be able to give you a prize. What did you miss in the earlier picks? We were just making fun of the guy who made this, Greg. Nothing you need to concern yourself about. We noticed some inconsistencies and stuff. Ulan gifting a sub to Mr. Greg Shahady, the creator of the Chess Fantasy. Wow, that's very generous of you, Ulan. Okay, yeah, d4, knight f6, I think is a really good pick. But here's my problem. This is a black opening, which is reliant on white playing d4. While c4, knight f3 is a white opening. And so d4, knight f6 will only... Actually, d4, knight f6 can be considered... You can make the argument that d4, knight f6 has the unique attribute of being a black opening that almost works as a white opening. Because everyone responds to d4 with knight f6. So maybe I shouldn't make that white-black distinction between d4, knight f6 and c4 and knight f3 as the first move. Because if the guys play d4, there's going to be so many knight f6 responses. It's just that for some reason these players seem to have been playing a lot of e4 openings lately. I don't fully understand why e4 is so popular these days, but Those are the trends. So who in this field plays d4 with the white pieces? I think I want to go d4 knight f6, but I'm not sure who here plays d4 with white. Wow, full. Wow, Greg was very brave coming into chat. Now he's going to be harassed with questions, people disagreeing with his assessments and his valuations. Okay, let's focus up. We're going to go up a little bit. Who are our players? Magnus, does Magnus play d4? Sometimes, but I feel like he's done a lot of e4 lately also. Oligesa plays e4, I'm pretty sure. Hikaru plays draws. I think Hikaru plays d4. Pretty solid opening. Anish plays e4. Maxim plays e4. Jan, does Jan play e4? Ding, I think, plays d4. And Fabiano normally goes e4, but he had some success with d4 in the candidates. Fabiano's prep in the candidates was so good. So good. Yeah, I'm very happy with my Fabiano picks. His prep is good. He has no reason to hide prep right now. And he's super well prepared for the candidates. I feel like there were not a lot of d4 players here. So are we going to go for the Sicilian? Maxim plays the Sicilian. Jan plays the Sicilian. Magnus sometimes plays the Sicilian. Let me see if I can shut down Skype. Magnus will play the London approximately 25% of his games. Thank you, Avalanche. In fact, not 25%. He's going to be doing the London almost 100%. The London is so good. Magnus has had such success in quicker time controls with the London. Yeah, so Magnus plays d4. Magnus plays d4. But the thing is, against Magnus, yeah, Magnus doesn't play critical against d5. But yeah, you can play d4 knight f6, bishop f4, d5. I don't know. I feel like d4 knight f6, it's like every d4 opening ever. And essentially, by picking this, I get to guess. I feel like I'm picking between one d4 or one c4 or knight f3. And I think d4 will be played more than c4 and knight f3 put together. And then there's these selections about the open games and about the Sicilian. And I cannot believe that a first move for white is going to have fewer games than a second move. Meaning that it's not just that white goes e4, but also that black responds a certain way. But I think it's between Sicilian and d4 knight f6. And I mean, Sicilian is so difficult to play in rapid chess. you're such a maniac to be playing the Sicilian in rapid chess. It's just so random. Well, it's not random at this level, but it's just such a dangerous opening. Okay, I'm going down. I'm happy with this. I'm moving on. I'm going for d4 knight f6. Next question. Pick one of these four teams of players. Which team will have the most match points in the preliminary stage? Oh wow, that sounds difficult. They will be tied 10 points. Probably not going to answer that because that seems very unlikely. Carlsen, Nepomniachtchi, Karana, Ding. Okay, it turns out this wasn't that difficult. Consistent with the rest of my choices, where I have Magnus winning the tournament, I have Karana winning a lot of games. I think I have to go for this one with Magnus. And it's only 5 points, so it's not really that big a decision either. Because it's a one-time 5-point thing instead of a repetitive, repetitive 3-pointers are much more valuable than like a 5-point thing. I stopped reading your comment, Avalanche, after you said you would go for d4 knight f6 because that means you agree with me, and so I thought, yeah, good, this person agrees with me, I'm happy. I'm not even gonna bother look at their arguments. Who will perform better in the Armageddon games throughout the tournament? White with 5 minutes or black with 4 minutes and draw odds? This is an interesting one. I'm going to turn off the... Turn off my phone. d4, d5 takes from the d4 approach. Yeah, I agree, Reiji, but I don't think a lot of people will play d5 on move 1. I think almost everyone is going knight f6 these days. Like the only ones who would go d4, d5 are probably people... actually, it's probably like Magnus playing this stupid a6 h6 thing he's been doing against the Queen's Gambit. Rip the Hammer repertoire, you're so right, Max. But I'm not sure these top tier players have really studied the Hammer repertoire. But you guys, of course, should go d4, d5. You guys should, but I'm not sure the top players will. Who will perform better? I think Magnus believes that black has an advantage. So we're going to go with black. Will Giri have the most draws in the preliminary stage? Yes, 7 points. No, 3 points. We get more points for saying Giri will have the most points. And in case of a tie, you get credit for yes. That sounds like too good of a deal, no? I mean, maybe Hikaru. I would maybe say Hikaru is the strongest competitor for draws. But Giri, 7 points. You get a lot of points for saying that Giri makes draws. I don't think. Yeah, we cannot. I don't think we can avoid that. You'd say no, Hans? Well, you're welcome to fill out your own form. I'm doing mine. I'm taking this opportunity to get lots of points for our niche making draws. It's just 3 points anyway, you know? Ding is also pretty solid. Yeah, that is true. Sounds like a trap? No, bum DC. You know, I'm so good that I can tell when it's a double bluff. Oh wow. The Geary draw myth? Shake my head? No. I actually Googled SMH yesterday, so I now know that it means shaking my head. Fun fact. No, it's not a trap. I'm gonna go for it. Geary making draws. I'm there. You tried Valorant? No. I have more than enough trouble with Fortnite Avalanche. Okay, who is the winner? Um, no Geary, I guess, technically won our little contest, but I think the result was somewhat skewed by the fact that there were three different possibilities for voting for Anish. The boomer of millennials? I thank you for thinking I'm a millennial, Bum DC. I don't think that's true even. Maybe I am actually. I think I might be. You were sure Geary would win? Well, you were wrong, Jake. You were wrong. Will all four rapid games be drawn in any match? Yes. That's a no-brainer. Will any match end with a 4-0 score? No. They will, I mean, if you have a 3-0 lead, you might just make a mercy draw and then go home. They, this might be, I'm gonna out it though. I heard that they're just having like a 10-minute break between each game. So if you make a short draw after being 3-0 up or 3-0 down, you get to go home and have dinner. Or you are already home. You get to go into the kitchen and have dinner. I think that's going to be so tempting. No one is going to care about having a 4-0 score. Geary wins the poll by scoring 50%. Well, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, Ulan, but it was pretty close. Yeah, I'm 29, Bum DC. But you know, in gaming, I stay young by watching a lot of gaming and on Twitch and Fortnite and so on and so forth. And in gaming, if you're over 20 years old, those kids think you're a boomer. That's kind of the meme. So if you're pretty, by that definition, if you're a boomer among millennials, you're just over 20 years old. Both options are 3 points. No, it's 3 points for yes and 8 points for no. 8 points. Will any rapid game end in checkmate? Ooh, this is an interesting one. You actually get a lot of points for yes. You get a lot of points for yes. If Peter Svidler was in the tournament, then I would definitely say yes. But chess players have this nasty habit of resigning one move before checkmate. For some reason, they think it's perfectly fine playing on until one move before checkmate. But when they're at their final breath of air, they choose to kill themselves instead of gracefully accepting the opponent's defeat. I don't know. Hammer lurking on Savage's chat. I'm not lurking, Cairo. I'm an active member of Chap Chat. Very excited about tomorrow. Chap versus Tifu. Grotto duel starting 7 p.m. Oslo time. Looking forward to it. Not lurking. I'm chatting. I'm making my presence known. Both options are 5 points in the 4-0 question. Yeah, let's talk to Greg Shahady about that one. Outrageous. Maximizing the expected score. I've done a little bit of both, Marius. I've done a little bit of both. I've had some consistent answers throughout, but right now I'm just going for what I think is more likely. Do you let your opponents checkmate you? Yes, I do, Håkon. Because I'm a gentleman. Why would you resign the 4th game when you can just make a draw, Umpas? But yeah, the 4th game counts for tie breaks and stuff like that, but people probably aren't going to care. It's nice to resign, no. You should let your opponents complete their game with style, giving checkmate. Evening, Vuller. How are you doing today? Some people think it's disrespectful not to resign. Yes, some people on Reddit think that. Some people who has never played competitively. Flaming Reddit. Always a good strategy by a streamer. I'm going to say yes. I have faith that there's a gentleman in this field and that we will see a checkmate. I don't know who the gentleman is going to be, though. It's not Magnus. It's not Hikaru. Anish is the biggest gentleman, I guess. Yeah, I'm probably it's not going to happen, but for 7 points, I can't resist. It's basically, this is saying that there's 3.5 times more likelihood of being a checkmate than there not being a checkmate. And like, I just need there to be one checkmate out of, 100 games. Probably much more than 100 games. Out of 250 games. I only need one checkmate. This is a fantasy contest for the Magnus Invitational. Roderick. MBL is a gentleman? I'm not sure when it comes to letting other people checkmate you. I think MBL is quite the fierce competitor. Maybe MBL or Giri. Yeah, I agree that it's unlikely to happen. I just feel like I just need one. I need just someone to miss a checkmate. Maybe if someone thought, oh, I'm getting checkmated in 2 moves, I'm going to make this move and then resign. And then, oh, I got checkmated immediately. Doesn't really matter because I lost anyway. But yeah, if Svidler had been in the tournament, it would be an automatic yes. Oh, really? It's only 124 games? Still feels doable, though. Which world champion is the most gentleman? I don't really know, Trenty. I don't really know any of the prior world champions. I can tell you who is the biggest gentleman among Kasparov, Anand, Kramnik. Well, actually, I can't really say that either because I don't really know. Like gentlemen among the. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know any of the world champions that well, other than Magnus, really. You don't become world champion by being a gentleman. That is true, Avalanche. Maybe none of them are gentlemen, but they're world champions, so who cares? Will any player win a match after starting down 2-0? So will you win 2 games in a row and then the Armageddon? Well, to be honest, if you win 2 games in a row, then you have a psychological edge in the Armageddon game. But managing to win 2 games in a row when you're down 2-0, that seems like a really, really tough task. Could happen. Doesn't feel likely. Anand has such gentleman vibes. Yeah, but we were opponents. We were the I was the second for 2 matches against Anand, and you make this kind of he's the enemy in that situation, right? So your psychology becomes a bit different, and you notice all of the annoying or rude things they do in a different way. You're way more attentive to it. So I think I don't know. Anand seems like a nice guy, but I think his reputation is exaggerated. But among like Kramnik, Kasparov, Magnus, he's probably the number one still. It's a field of very fierce people. Is there increment? Yes, Bum DC. There's 15 minutes for each player and then 10 seconds extra per move made. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with no on anyone making a big comeback. Will there be games that last 100 moves or more? Yes, there will. Will Magnus lose a match in the preliminary stage? No, I don't think so. I mean, saying no here is a big ask, but I don't see him losing a match. Even I mean, if he ends up in Armageddon, he's so good at clutching things out. But I mean, I guess he could lose an Armageddon. I don't think he's gonna lose like outright any of the matches. But like for 5 points each, I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with my guy. Laser hair. How are you doing? Are you gonna play for Norway in the Nordic Online something something? I don't know what the Nordic Online something something is. I have not heard of this, and so I cannot. I don't have a good answer for you. What's the time control for Armageddon? 5 versus 4 on Buzz. What am I eating? Spring onions. Attaculation. I had a couple of extra. next to me. Some spice. Spice in the throat. Bit of a sting. Just spring onions? Yeah, it's good, Marius. What are you talking about? What? Spring onions? It's good. Vegetables? Good. Raw onions? No, it's spring onions. It's not like... yes, they're raw, but it's not as extreme as eating like raw yellow onions. Okay, will MVL ever play anything other than C5 in response to E4? No only gives 3 points. Wow. How much of a Najdorf stickler is MVL? He really does love his Najdorf, doesn't he? Wait, what did you fix, Greg? Are you changing the questionnaire while I'm doing it? It should be illegal. I demand that the points as they stand apply to my submission. You always have good stuff on stream. Chocolate milk, onions, and yeah. That's how I do it, attaculation. No, Marius, spring onion is always good. It has a different use than yellow onions, in my opinion. MVL will play the French? No, he will not. Yeah, I think MBL is not going to play anything other than the Najdorf. He spent all his time prepping that opening. Will any game end with 2 Bear Kings on the board? Yes, like 100% yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Will anyone play 1b3 in a rapid game? Essentially asking if Magnus is going to honor his coach's favorite player, Mr. Bent Larsen of Denmark. Or, I mean, even Alireza and Hikaru could be the kind of people to play b3. This is a bit of a difficult one. Naka might, Alireza might, Magnus might. There's 3 guys who's capable of playing b3. But are they really going to do it? I mean, of course Naka might. That's not really helping me. I know that Naka might do it. But is he gonna? Is the big question. Is he gonna do it? B3. It's not a very good move. But that hasn't really stopped Magnus before. Hasn't stopped Hikaru before. Fun Eigelfeld. How are you doing? Maybe if 3-0 up. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Chris. Maybe if he has a big lead, he's going to play b3 just to hide prep. Devs? Oh, really? Marius, have you seen the startup? The startup is really good. I feel like it sounds similar to Devs. Is it on HBO Nordic, Marius? Because I recently acquired that streaming service. I might check it out. It's an excellent... with Freeman? With Freeman? Yes, I think so. The British guy, right? No. Yeah. I don't know. With the Spanish girl. She's the interesting one. Iggy something. No, not Iggy. She's like a coder. And then there's this really interesting character who's like in the Haitian mob. It's a good show. In no way similar. Okay. Yeah, you're not really selling the show though. I said the startup is really good, and then you say it's in no way similar. There's also another a really good show, Marius, actually. It's the Texas Instrument Show with the girl. Um, what's it called? Uh, it's like a really long title. Catch Fire? Halt and Catch Fire. Also really good show. Oh, it's sci-fi. Oh, I don't do sci-fi, Marius. I thought we were devs. I thought we were talking about like programming TV shows. Okay, I take it all back. But I gave you some really good tips now for programming shows then. Wow, a calculator show. Well, Texas Calculator. I mean, I presumably they were initially making calculators, but then they branched out to making computers as well. In the early stages of personal computers. Four games the first day or eight? Brian, there's going to be two matches on the first day. Um, and each match consists of four games. So, depending on how to interpret your question, it can be correct both ways. Yes. Okay, you got it. So I don't need to explain further. Will anyone play B3 in a rapid game? I'm going to go with... It's such a 50-50 choice, and it's also 50-50 on points. I would probably go for whichever had lower, the more points. But since they have equal amounts of points, I think this is one of the few opportunities where having a poll, I think, is the correct decision here. We're going to put Jake on it to let the people voice their opinion. No, I don't think that show is on Netflix or YouTube. But I only know where they're at for Norway. The Startup, which is really exciting, is on Amazon Prime. Actually, no, Prime Videos it's called. But whenever we mention Prime Videos, we have to mention the fact that if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you may have a free Twitch sub available for free. Just click the link your Twitch to your Amazon account and give me your Twitch Prime sub because you're liking the content and you're a nice guy. I haven't perfected my Twitch Prime speech. I don't get that many opportunities. Okay, what is the results? People are saying yes and no. It's almost 50-50. Wow. But I have a bit of a secret for you. I decided to go the opposite of what you guys did. I thought I better not announce that beforehand. But in this instance, I think the masses got this wrong, and I just needed to hear what the masses said. Thank you also, Ulan, contributing with 300 bits. I still don't understand what this bit and poll situation is, and I feel bad it doesn't pop up on the screen. But yeah, we're gonna go against the current on this one. If you've read your Ibsen, you may know that one of his plays is very much in vogue at the moment. It's in Norwegian. It's called what's it called in Norwegian? There's a quote I really like from it. You can vote multiple times if you pay. Wow. That's brilliant. I capitalism at work. I'm surprised this hasn't been implemented in the US already. Ravior, I will be commenting on TV2. So I will not be doing commentary with Chess24. I will be doing commentary on TV. You can disable, but you thought I liked it? Yeah, Jake. Feel free to exploit capitalism and make me some extra cash by people fixing the votes. Okay, what is the play I was calling? I was talking about Henrik Ibsen. It's how am I not remembering this? Yeah, Finn Gnat is the host. Yes, Ravior, and also Hansul Ablalum will be my partner in commentary. Yes, Reiji, it's amazing. Chess on TV in Norway, it's become common. We've had chess on TV now for 6 years. It's been a major contributor to the fact that I can be a full-time chess professional. No, it's not Peer Gynt. It's the one with the doctor who tries to tell people about the water being poisoned. Dr. Stockman. But what is the play called? En folkefiende. En folkefiende. What's it in in English though? An enemy of the people. Google it. Get educated. Norwegian playwright Henrik Ibsen. Classic. Yeah, no, I agree that it's definitely possible that Hikaru plays b3. Okay. Okay, I'm going for yes. My vote has been bought and paid for. I'm going with yes. Even if it doesn't work out, I made $3. It's fine. What is the survey? We're doing fantasy. Wow, both Jake and Urix much quicker than me in giving you the link to the fantasy chess. This is the Magnus Carlsen Invitational, the bringing chess, top tier chess to the internet, and it starts this Saturday. Fantasy contest with nice prizes is ready for you to fill out right now. Okay, moving on. Will any player lose all 7 matches in the preliminary stage? Honestly, could happen. But 4 versus 6? No, we're gonna go with no. Will any rapid game feature the Scandinavian defense? Yes, I think so. I actually saw this question earlier, and Magnus has been playing quite a bit of Scandinavian. And Magnus does play some really crappy openings at times. So I feel like If I'm gonna say that Ikaru's gonna play the B3 on move one just because he's done it many times before, I feel like Magnus is gonna play the Scandinavian. Why not? He did it in the World Rapid Championship. Maybe not against players of this caliber, but it's like in his repertoire of speed chess weapons. But only 5 against 5. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised by Greg here. Greg is like the most well-known enemy of hashtag Team Scandi and the Scandinavian defense. I'm very surprised he would give yes and no equal amount of points. And I am definitely sure that Greg has answered no to this question. He cannot imagine that anyone in the top 10 in the world in their right mind would play the Scandinavian defense. Under promotion will not happen because no one knows how to disable auto clean. I mean, under promotion 10-1 is it's kind of tempting because you feel like you're gonna have some game with one guy getting a rook just for fun. Like when it doesn't matter whether you get a rook or a queen, maybe someone will get a rook just to make fun. I feel like Anish is the number one trollster, prankster when it comes to this. But I think we're gonna go with no. Naka once got a rook instead of a queen and ended up losing the game. I remember that, Eriks. That was very funny. I remember that actually. Was it like the Pro Chess League or something? Maybe it was even at a physical event. Yeah, I don't remember when it was, but I remember that happening. Oh, yeah, it was a night. Yeah, that makes sense. Is there a bronze final match? No, there's not, GB. Okay, I'm gonna go with a no on the under promotion. It could happen. Actually, if you have an endgame with rook versus pawn, under promotion is like, in some circumstances, the only way to survive. I mean, I know there's many situations where under promotion is the only good move, but that feels like the only one very likely to happen other than people just trolling. Did the position require Naka to under promote? No, rolled 6. And that's why it was so silly. Because he could have just gotten a queen and the game would have been a draw. And instead he took a knight and ended up losing. Alireza, the kind of player that might? No, I don't see it. I'm going to go with no. Will the top 2 finishers in the preliminary stage make it to the championship match? So basically, it's asking whether the number 1 placed player will manage to beat the number 4 placed player, and at the same time, the number 2 placed player will manage to beat the number 3 placed player. And just from a logical standpoint, in order for this answer to be yes, then 2 players have to win their games, their match. But for this answer to be no, only 1 needs to fail for no to be the correct answer. And while I do agree that the people placing number 1 and 2 in the preliminary tournament are always going to be the favorite in their matches, I don't believe they're such big favorites that it justifies giving them both kind of half odds that both of them have to win. If not, and the fact that no also gives more points. So I'm going to go with no on this one. Giants had some math in the chat on this. And I think we agree that no is the best answer. Or was it odds on the under promotion? Your math is off? Wow, but I was about to. Since we reached the same conclusion, Giants, I was really happy going for your. But I think the math is even more favorable. Yes, we agree. We are in agreement. Will the championship match go to a tiebreak? No, I don't think so. And then at the end, there's the. Oh, you guys couldn't even see that. Will the championship match go to a tiebreak? No. And then at the end, there's the tiebreaker question. Out of a possible 124 rapid games, how many will be drawn? And here, I'm very happy to say that my layout doesn't allow for me to scroll down further. So you guys are not going to be able to see my answer. And regardless of how many times you copy my answers so far in this competition, you are not going to be able to see the tiebreaker question. So I'm going to beat you anyway. Too bad. Since the players know about it, it's a little more likely they will troll. That is true, Rolled Sigs. That's definitely true. But I don't think the players care that much. I feel like Anish is the only one who could care enough to do something, and the chance of Anish getting a new queen anyway is not that great. Hey BSing, we're looking at the chess fantasy for the Magnus Invitational starting Saturday. Let me see if I can find the link to the news article for you. Put it in the Chess24 chat. Who came up with this? Greg Shahady, Irved. He is in chat right above you. Feel free to ask any questions, or feel also free to give a lot of criticism if you feel the contest is so deserving. Oh yeah, Greg, that's a good point. If a match is 3-0 in semifinals, they will not play the fourth game. I don't believe that for a second. Hey, Catalonia. You have to praise Shahadi for this great work. Wow. That's not the kind of response we were expecting, but I guess Greg appreciates it. Okay, I got to figure out my tiebreaker answer. I'm gonna get a calculator actually, because we take this very seriously. Okay, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go with a prime number. I'm going with a prime number. It's done. It's done. I am ready. I have spent 2 hours on this. The most thought through submission to this entire fantasy contest. But I have selected a prime as my tiebreaker, and I am ready to submit. If you want, actually, this is a good segue. If you want to spend your Twitch Prime on me, then you can do so by pressing the big blue button close to your subscribe here. I could have put more heart and soul into that, but wow. I shouldn't have said prime, it would seem. My selection has already been blown in chat. Well, I thought there were quite a few primes, no? I guess there's not. Oh, man. Okay, I guess there's not that many prime numbers. Okay, submit. Your response has been submitted. We're done. No, we're not done. Because you cannot just participate in the overall fantasy competition. Because every single round there's a new fantasy competition. You guys thought I was done, didn't you? But no. Well, I'm doing whatever I can to avoid having to think about chess and making chess moves myself. We're going to continue with another submission. This is not the overall contest. This is the contest that only applies for this weekend, for Saturday and for Sunday. So each round is played over 2 days. So there's 2 matches on the first day, and then the last 2 matches on the second day. So this is the fantasy competition for round 1, Saturday and Sunday. What was visible? He thought more about this than I do my chess. Yeah, Giants, that's why I'm a grandmaster and you're not. Okay. Username Hammer. Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru Nakamura. Magnus wins 3-1 or more, 2.5, 1.5. Armageddon. Hikaru wins 20 points? Wow, Greg, does Hikaru know about this? I think we better make sure that the players don't figure out the odds Greg is giving them. Hikaru wins any score, 20 points. That's a lot of shade to be throwing on a fellow American, Greg. And especially a guy who regularly has 3,000 Twitch viewers. I wouldn't be going into Hikaru's chat anytime soon. That sounds risky to me. Magnus in Armageddon gets more points than Magnus 2.5. This is really tough. Hikaru wins 20 points? It's so many points. And it like covers so many more possibilities. It's like so many more points and so many more possibilities covered. You're contractually obliged not to pick Hikaru? No, I'm not. This is a Chess24 competition. I'm obliged to do nothing but showcase my expertness. But I do notice that Greg has left the building. He has realized his mistake. He's probably never stopping by Hikaru's chat this next month. Annoying name, thank you so much for the 11-month resub. Bossy in the house, ready to do some fantasy chess as well. Wow, Greg trying to defend himself. He's just trying to make the options as spread out as possible. Yeah, that's what I would say as well. That would be my excuse as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one. But Hikaru, because it gets so many more points and it covers so many more possibilities. I see 20 points and I get so tempted. Okay, we're gonna have to wait for this one. Will anyone score 2 wins in a row in this match? Probably depends on what I decide for this first one. We're gonna go to an easier question. Way too difficult to start out making a decision about Hikaru versus Magnus. Way too difficult. Oliviesa wins. Ding wins. Are you kidding me? 15 points for Ding winning? I thought you said you wanted to make people choose different things. Oh my gosh, Greg. Oh, Greg, my gosh. Will anyone's pawn make it to the 7th rank? How often does a pawn get to the 7th? Maybe not that often. There's going to be 4 games. I mean, if he gets a new queen. Most of the time, people will resign, though, before the pawn makes it to the 7th rank. Now, this is a decent question. Ding for 15 points is outrageous, but this... Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, that question proved that it was the right decision for me to jump down from the Magnus question and get an easier start to this one. One question, you did terrible overall. People are picking 90% picking one of the sides. Wow, Greg, shame on you. Well, he probably cannot reveal which one, Steve Ice, but we'll get him back at some later date to tell us where he messed up. You really believe Ding will not do great? That's fine. That's fine. But Ding, a 4-1 dog against Alireza? No. No. That he is not. Fabiano against Jan. Fabiano at 3-1. I mean, now it doesn't really matter whether... Here, it could make some sense going for Jan, because then we're hedging our overall bet. It could make some sense to hedge, because we're really aggressively pro Carana in our first overall prediction, team selection. So it makes some sense to hedging your bets. But I mean, I don't think Fabiano is a 3-1 dog. I mean, there's a reason why I chose Fabiano for the overall competition also. Fabiano versus Nepomniachtchi, pick an opening. 2 points each time it happens. So preferably we should do something that both players could be doing. Wow, I'm not even sure any of these openings are going to happen. If Fabiano plays d4, then Jan is not going to play d5, so it doesn't matter. So this one, d4 is out, because that's just not going to happen. c4 is out. Well, c4 could happen, but the rest of this is more likely. Fabiano was playing some really aggressive black openings in the candidates. I think we're going to go with Jan playing the Najdorf against Fabiano, and then there's an off chance of Fabiano also playing the Sicilian against Nepomniachtchi. Yes, these are two separate contests. Two separate contests. But there's still hedging opportunities in terms of like if Fabiano does poorly, then my overall contest is going to be in bad shape. But then I might be more likely to win the daily contest if I go against kind of what I'm actually hoping for long term for the tournament as a whole. So there's still some hedging logic to it. Okay, moving on. MVL against Anish Giri. Will Giri win a game in this match? Yes, no, 50-50. Huh. Let me say no, actually. MVL wins in Armageddon. Giri wins 19 points for Giri winning. Well, we can say no if we want to go for the 19 points. Actually, we can. This is. I'm not sure you're. Will Giri win a game in this match? Maybe you need to rephrase this, Greg. Because what if Giri wins the match by drawing with black in the Armageddon? Has he then won a game? We're going to need a clarification from the boss. Still no wins. Yeah, so Giri can win this match without winning a game. Okay, you thought about that, huh? But most of the time, when you lose with the white pieces in Armageddon, you go berserk and you lose the game. Because it doesn't matter whether you draw or whether you lose. Oftentimes also, even in equal positions, there have been people who have like resigned Armageddon games because it's not rated, and so it doesn't really matter whether you resign or whether you acquiesce to a draw, it's the same result. Giri can win the event without winning a game. Perfect format. Yeah, I think we just made that discovery. I think we're gonna go with MVL winning outright. We'll put some faith in MVL. I put a lot of faith in Anish for the candidates, and he let me down. Chess math quiz. Which match will feature the longest game of the round in terms of total moves? Longest game. Who are going to squeeze each other in an endgame? That's Magnus and Hikaru. Hikaru's going to play on rook against rook. Magnus is gonna play, some tiny advantage closed position forever. Those guys, it's not even a question in my mind. That's gonna be some long games. They're gonna have a lot of fighting to do. None of them will ever want to call quits on trying to win. Which color will perform better in Armageddon games? It will be a tie. No, wait. I'm not really sure there will be an Armageddon game though. Who are playing again? Remind me. Here it is. Magnus versus Hikaru. Aligesa against Ding. Fabiano against Nepomniachtchi. I mean, at this level, it's just so likely there's going to be a match ending 2-2. And it will be a tie, it's only 2 points. Yeah, no, we're not going for that. We're going to go with black. How many matches will feature at least one queenside castling? Queenside castling is uncommon. It's because you need to move out so many pieces. You have to move so many pieces out of the way. So it's very uncommon. There was a similar question in the candidates chess fantasy about who would do the most queenside castling. I said Fabiano because I thought he has some really interesting prep. I guess in the white side of the Najdorf, it does happen. Wow, Zero is kind of tempting at 8 points. But also in rapid chess, maybe they're a bit more aggressive or loose in their playing style. This one is ridiculously difficult. And the all the different options have such different numbers. Oh wait, it's matches. It's not number of games, it's number of matches. So if like they have a theoretical duel in some area and it's just happening in that one match, then it's still only one match. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm following. 2 matches for 1 point sounds horrible value. 3 matches for 2 points sounds also bad. So I'm definitely 1 or 0. 1 or 0 for me. How do you think Ali Hassan will fare? I think a lot of people has a lot of faith in him after he beat Magnus yesterday. I think based on the answers we've given in the chess fantasy, we think Ali Hassan he's not gonna be as impressive when there's 10 seconds extra per move, but he's definitely super strong. He's very used to this computer format, playing on the computer, seeing the board in 2D. He's definitely, I would say, like he's a favorite to make it to the final four, probably. Hammer doing the fantasy is taking longer than the actual matches will. Well, I'm thorough, Flo. Very thorough. Will the knight end up in any of the corner squares? I'm gonna go with no queenside castles. 8 points. 8 versus 3. That's like 3 times. Is 1 versus 0 3 times as likely? Queenside castling it's rare. It's very rare. It could happen in some very like the English attack of the Najdorf. White castles queenside. But other than that, I don't see when it's gonna happen. I'm gonna go with 0, trying to get the max points here. It can happen in some Karakana lines. Yeah, but not the ones that's popular at the time. No one is playing Karakhan at the top level. I actually bet on the Karakhan for the previous Chess Fantasy. It didn't really work out for me. If we get the French from Nepomniachtchi, yeah, but then white doesn't castle. Because these guys are not playing like the Steinitz thingies. They're going for the full-on Vinegar. And then the white king gets stuck in the center. Oh, you're saying black castles queenside. Yeah, Nepomniachtchi castled queenside in the French with the black pieces. Yeah, and I guess you also do that in the Vinegar. But is that going to be the battleground? Who is Jan playing? Jan is playing Anish? No. Jan is playing Fabiano? Fabiano is pretty principled, actually. Jan is crazy and Fabiano is pretty principled. Okay, let's say one game, actually. You talked me into it. You talked me into one match. Could happen in Fabiano. It could happen in any match, but Castle and Queenside is very rare. I don't think it really needs to be emphasized how rare it is. Hey Horn, how you doing? Should we go to his stream and ask if he's going to be canceling Queenside a lot? No, I think we're happy with one match. And even if I'm wrong about Fabiano, suddenly someone else castles Queenside. One match, I think it's like middle ground. Middle ground. Will a knight end up in any of the corner squares during this round? I think no feels like the more likely of the two options. And then the tiebreaker question. How many moves will the longest last? It actually, surprisingly here, this tiebreaker question is visible for you guys. To be fair, I did burn my answer last time. How many moves will the longest game of the round? Longest game of the round. If we already think Fabiano, if Magnus and Hikaru are going to play like a really long game, we should actually check what we answered there. Who will feature the longest game of the rounds? So essentially, what we're now trying to answer for the tiebreaker is how many moves will the longest game between Magnus and Hikaru be? And I'm going to answer... I'm not going with a prime this time. And then we have to go all the way back because I skipped Magnus versus Hikaru because it was such a difficult choice. I think this is going to be, I'm feeling pretty good about my selections for the other questions. So I think I'm going to ignore the points and I'm just going to go for what I find to be the most likely scenario. And I think the most likely, I guess it's the middle ground, that Magnus wins 2.5. Yeah, they're pretty evenly contested. Magnus wins 2.5, and he doesn't win 2 games in a row. Yeah, I think I'm going for this. And now, to go down without revealing my tiebreaker This is very nerve-wracking. There's my tiebreaker. Is it visible? No. No. Let me get down to the submit button. I got there. Submitted. Your response has been recorded. Okay, I'm done. I submitted my fantasy teams. I hope you guys have done the same. We're going to play a little bit of chess to cap off this evening. And first up in the line, if he's still here, is Syrian. Do you think Magnus winning 2.5, 1.5 is 4 times as likely? No, Giants. I don't think so. But what I said is that I'm just going to go with the answer that's the most likely to happen because I'm happy with all the other answers I've given. And therefore, I think it maximizes my chance of winning the contest if I go for truth rather than value for the final one. When is this event happening? It starts Saturday. Huba Buba. Magnus against Hikaru. 4 p.m. Oslo time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. You forgot you had a Chess24 account? Well, this seems like a good moment to revive it then. Irved. Did I blunder my pawns? I had this idea that... Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. If c3, he captures this pawn, so I have to take this one. Then he goes knight d4. And my center just evaporated, just like that. I'm going to have to take on b7. Not optimal. He didn't take I mean, I'm not sure if taking here was good or not for him, but he kind of had to do it, in my opinion. Because now I'm just going to have very easy development with the bishop pair. And my pawns are doing a great job of restricting his pieces. So notice how this pawn on c3 and this pawn on d4 both doing a great job of taking away potential squares for the knight on c6 and for the bishop on g7. I know that last time they did this fantasy, there were better prices if you were a premium member. I don't know if that's still the case, but I would encourage you to support Chess24 by becoming a premium member. I also want to remind everyone that there will be opportunities to play games against the players in this tournament. Ding already played against Chess24 premium members earlier today, and tomorrow at 11 p.m. Oslo time, 5 p.m. Eastern, Fabiano Caruana is taking on the people, which is a perk that's only available to premium members. And if you are going to become a premium member, consider using the code HAMMER for 15% off. But I feel like I also have to say, in order not to mess up or make you feel like you've gotten cheated, that you can also use the code STAY AT HOME, which gives you 40% off. For some reason, they have decided that the HAMMER code is not deserving of the biggest discount. I cannot understand why that is. How will Hammer finish in the Fantasy League? Wow. You've really gotten happy with these polls, huh? Jake. Very eager to run the polls. Hammer will of course finish top 5%. I don't understand all you guys not voting top 5%. I was top 5% in the candidates. Just FYI. I am an expert in chess, and that includes predicting results. Cumulate the 2 promo codes. I don't think that's possible, unfortunately. But thank you for the 100 bits, Irved. I accept that you may go for the 40% off. And you have my blessing as a thank you for the 100 bits. Hey Fundrul, are you going to be watching the TV2 broadcast? You're a poor man? Wow, but thank you for another 100 Shamrock bits, Irved. That's very generous then. Do you get the 25% difference? No, Chigas. I'm not a good enough negotiator. Should get you in the room. Hammer cannot live. You keep offering better discounts than the Hammer code. It's not right. And then you just slam your hand in the table and demand they fix it. TV, both TV and sumo, Fundrule. But only on TV the days Magnus is playing himself. So Magnus is playing every other day. Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. You get the gist. Syrian just allowed me to give up a bishop for a knight. Not usually a trade I advocate though. So we're going to force him back instead. Then we're going to bring the king into the game. Irved, it's on TV2 Sport 2, what was previously known as the sports channel, Sportskanalen. You tried the promo code Anishgiri and it gave you a 50% discount. Well done, Nisha. I don't think I'm winning this with my bishops. I'm disappointed to say, but I don't see the breakthrough. Will you do commentary the days Magnus is not playing? I'm considering it, Kim. I'm considering it. I might team up with Mr. Buddha, Mr. John of the Buddha clan, and do some commentary on the games where Magnus is not playing. But it really depends on whether we have any viewership, because we're then going to be competing against the broadcast with Gusti and Jan and Grischuk. So if people for some reason would rather watch those esteemed gentlemen, then we might get out competed. Calculated potato, I do not know. The answer to that is I do not know. It's an interesting question though. Because normally you would need a sports subscription, I think. But you're asking if you can get access to the direct channel through Sumo. It's too tricky a question for me to answer, calculated potato. Too tricky. Okay, we're going to win this game on time, but Syrian has done a good job of keeping something seemingly equal. Actually, his knight is in a bit of a pickle. I just realized I might win this game fair and square. Okay, I won it on time, but actually there were some problems for black in this position because the knight is stuck out on the edge. It's not really clear how it's getting back into the game. He probably has to play like b4, then takes, and then use his knight to defend this pawn, but it feels a bit shaky. It feels as though like now this knight cannot move because he needs to protect the pawn, and this knight cannot move because the bishop covers everything. Then he has to go back, but then I come up. Yeah, this is starting already to look a bit iffy. Oh, yeah, Kim, I'm not sure how the coronavirus changed their and losing the Premier League, how that changed their price structure. I think I'm just going to shut up because it's very likely I'm going to say something wrong if I try to answer your questions. But I keep winning with the bishops, Kleinmeister. At some point, maybe you'll just have to live with the fact that bishops are good and that you should, have them. Gusti and Jan? No, did I say both Gusti and Jan? Shame on me, Spectre. I meant Gusti and Svedler and Grischuk. And apparently Lawrence is also joining, but we can outcompete Lawrence. Hey Cobra, how you doing? Okay, it seems as though our 2800 friend Trubalov gave up on trying to follow me as I was navigating through the chess fantasy team selection. Next up is Luca. Oh. Okay, we're using the hammer repertoire against the London system, focusing all our pieces towards this e5 square, hoping to go e5 in the future. Takes on c5, we're not concerned about that. I believe knight d7 is the hammer recommendation. Yeah. This is the point where it would be very useful to remember what I recommended in the video series. I feel like I probably took this one. And then I feel like I probably took this one. I feel like I probably took this one. And then went here. So far, so good, I would say. But what's next? Queen b5, queen b6, trying to attack this pawn on b2. Definitely a possibility. Also tempting to push the pawn in the center. Let's push the pawn, because then we also open up for our bishop. Could be useful. Kleinmeister, no, it didn't really work out very well. I think we pretty much abandoned it. This man is taking enormous risks right now, no? E4, knight moves, knight g4, bishop takes, queen h5, knight f3. Looks very risky, no? Okay, I don't see the follow through though. Just any piece with this move though. I'm spending so much time unnecessarily. Anonymous, gifting a sub to Calculated Potato. Thank you so much, Anonymous. Okay, so I spent all my... He has to go bishop c2. It's the only way to prevent me from getting knight g4. Not sure what I'm going to do then, but it feels very promising. Yeah, I don't see the checkmate though. Now I'm going to lose on time. So annoying. That was such a bad move too. That was not a good move. Okay. Turns out I was concerned for no reason. Our attack was super strong. Thank you, Spectre. This was impressive, he says. Thank you so much. It was pretty sweet. Could you check if he could run away with f3? Yeah, let's take a look at that. It became very interesting. I feel like, personally, I felt like he should have played b3 to try and stop me from getting my bishop point that happened in the game. It's not going to work out. Actually, more accurate is to take this one first. It's the same thing as in the game. Feel free to put on some party sweet music in the background also. I'm not going to stop you. You are the exact opposite. That's just how it is. Yeah, no, I'm very happy with that checkmating attack. I made it difficult for myself by spending so much time. That she is singing the Dancing Queen. You don't have a lot of cred in this chat also. If Ulan says Anna is singing, then I will respond in kind. But we don't trust you. I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to when I'm getting a bits or a subscription, a sub. What are we missing, Kleinmeister? Wow, I really chased everyone away with my my fantasy team selection, huh? No one hanging around till the end of it. Okay, we're giving up on this man as well. Spectre, you're up. Pure beat people at chess energy, as long as you include fantasy chess in that, I'm game. Also though. Hammer has a nice balance of energy, relax and chill, and then fires up at the right times. Yeah, that's me. I'm old. I need to save my energy for when it's important. For when Magnus gives checkmate with zero point 0.2 seconds remaining. Irved, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I was closer to missing that than you would like, I'm sure. I just have my move. How am I 30 seconds down on time? Oh, it's because I didn't notice it was my move for 20 seconds. Yeah, so I never place. This is interesting. I mean, I just turn off the stream, to be honest. Moved, said Bishop. Let's try this strategy. Ooh, he prevented me from going knight b6. Feels bad. I actually really success. Why don't you just mute? What's the point of watching a stream if you're gonna mute it? That makes no sense. Are you saying you watch chess streams for the chess? Wow. Wow. That is, wow. I hadn't even considered that as motivation to do better and be better concentrated. And there's definitely a huge difference in a much longer time control, 15 minutes, and where you can really concentrate and focus all your efforts on the position in front of you. Whether it drops your elo, I'm saying it gives you different circumstances for the game. And when you play under different what Grishchuk was saying about playing during this corona crisis, that like, yes, it's equal for everyone, but it will impact some people more than others. And then you can counter argue that with, yes, but this is true for everyone. Some people